2 local government areas, Abadam and Guzamala, are still under the control of Boko Haram. The governor disclosed this during an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Army, which paid him a courtesy visit at the government house, Maiduguri. He expressed concern over the growing presence of the Islamic State of West African province in the southern part of Borno and appealed to the military to take the war to the insurgents and chase them out, because ISWAP is currently recruiting fighters in some parts of the states. Adekunle Yusuf,
yeah,
this is not looking good. Some days to the election again. If the governor of the state can confirm that 2 local governments are under the control of these terrorists.
Remember, it used to be more than 2. And Jide is there, will confirm it. Many times on this program, he has always insisted that whenever the propagandists of this government is saying, hey, he will say, no, there are still a few local governments under the control of Boko Haram. But you know how he was always attacked. I'm talking about Jide. You see people who is in charge of army.
Ali Dume.
Yes. You know, he was always saying the truth. Then later, even the governor, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, all of them started coming out that anybody that says anything to the contrary, I think it was 4 before, 5, 4, now 2. And this has been consistent. In the last 1-2 years, each, the state governor, the Speaker, you know, many of, you know, big men from that part of the country have been saying the same thing. 2 local governments are firmly under the control of Boko Haram. And I think Guzamala and
Abadam,
so they mentioned. So now the government is afraid that they are spreading towards the southern part, you know, senatorial parts, that the military should take, you know, be more, you know, the offensive, you know, be more proactive, so that at least the gains recorded so far will not, you know, be eroded. And as we go into the election, it is clear now that these 2 local governments.
They might not conduct election there.
So, but it's not new. It happened 2015, 2019. So it's not something that happened yesterday. It's been like that for a long time. You understand my point? It's been like that. So many of the elections are conducted in the IDP.
Might be at the IDP, inside the IDP.
Yes, many of the elections they are conducted inside the IDPs. So it's not new. But what the governor is saying has confirmed what many people have been trying, you know, to spin. That we have not won the war against insurgency. There's still a lot of work to be done. And we should give the governor a credit for at least saying the truth. And when you look at that governor Professor Zulum, it's not the kind of, you know, leader that's given to flippancies. Yes, exactly. No. Say it as he sees it.
And when you look at it, these guys are recruiting again.
Yeah.
When we felt that, oh, these insurgents, they've been cut to size, you know, our military have been able to take charge of things around there. Now, the level of unemployment and poverty rates, we make sure that some of our youths are indoctrinated in the terrorist organization.
That's the truth. This tells us that it is not over until it is over. Yes, we were happy and celebrating that that Boko Haram influence had been down and they've been decimated and all of that. But we all know that terrorists don't give up easily. You know, when people have an ideology, no matter how perverse it is, and they hold on to it, they will not give up easily. So when you think you have sent them out of certain places, they go elsewhere to regroup. That's what is actually happening. I like Governor Zulum. He is a man who exudes frankness. He doesn't play the ostrich and all of that. But now, they say ISWAP is recruiting fighters in other parts of the state. The question is, what is ISWAP dangling before these young people that is attracting them to join them? Whatever we know, we have heard before that we've heard the case of ISWAP giving loans or you know, to help maybe tailors and all of that to attract them, you know, people, apprentices and things like that. So if we have discovered that, how do we check that? That is what the government should be thinking about, the military should be thinking about. What exactly is it that ISWAP is dangling before these youths? How can that be checked? Is it poverty? Is it that ISWAP is giving them some empowerment? Can we also check that by empowering these youths? Can we re-educate them? Can we reorientate them? You know, this doesn't bode well for the election that is coming up. What it means is that in those 2 local government areas, will there be elections? And also, we hear that they are even collecting taxes, you know, in some of those places. So we need to really up our game and see that this does not spread beyond the 2 local government areas. And also, the local government areas, let's see what we can do to drive them out. Before the election is February 25th. It's less than 2 months. So I expect an intense campaign against terrorism, the activities of these evil people in that place.
Julian, tell us what is happening, what exactly is happening in Abadam and Guzamala local governments.
I think there are actually 3 local governments where Boko Haram still exerts some level of influence, where there is very little military presence to challenge them. There is Abadam local government.
Yes, Kukawa.
Local government. Kukawa, Guzamala local government is the local government of the Speaker of the Borno State. Boko Haram is in control of my local government. There is no military presence at all. There is no civilian presence. For many years now, at least since 2014, that has been it was in Guzamala local government that more than 150 soldiers were killed in one day. The epitaph in their honor is still in the local government headquarters in Gudumbali. So that looks like a no-go area. Abadam local government, with headquarters at Malamfatori, was where Boko Haram killed the late tank commander, the famous tank commander, Colonel Abu Ali, a hero of our military exploits between 2013 and 2014. Remember, he got double promotion as a result of his exploits. It was in Abadam local government, specifically Malamfatori, that he was killed in a night attack by Boko Haram fighters. Recently, they went to the same Abadam local government to attack our troops and kill some soldiers there in the night. Abadam, for a very long time, Nigerian troops were positioned in Malamfatori, but civilians were not allowed to come and live with them, come and live in the town. But the governor had been trying to change all that by bringing civilians into that community. But the Boko Haram fighters are trying to scare the people away from resettling in their ancestral land by carrying out attacks, you know, in that area. So I can understand why the governor listed Abadam local government, because he considers that place unsafe, that local government unsafe, in spite of recent efforts to resettle civilians there. He considers the area unsafe for elections. Kukawa local government, one of the biggest local governments in our country, is also largely unpoliced. It's so big. And Baga, the fishing town of Baga, where the governor had a scare some time ago, is the headquarters of Kukawa local government. Kukawa Sports is also there. But don't forget, because it's close to access to Lake Chad and all that, the enemy has been finding ways of bringing in weapons into that area, and they've dominated the area for so long. So we're looking at like 3 local governments, in my view, where no one can think of holding elections there. Even in 2019, elections were held in the IDP camps in Monguno. The elections for the whole of Borno North were held in Monguno, in the IDP camp in Monguno, which for a long time was the biggest IDP camp in the state. The governor has shut IDP camps, especially in the state capital. People have been relocated. But the truth is, some elections will still be held in IDP camps in Borno State because INEC will not deploy materials to communities that it does not think are safe. Even in Zamfara State, I can tell you that many of the communities, elections will not take place because the areas are not deemed safe enough. There was a by-election in Bakura local government last year. INEC said pointedly that it will not deploy equipment to material to some of the wards in that local government because bandits were running riot in those areas. So this is the Gaidam area where Boko Haram is very active. Gaidam, Babangida, where Boko Haram is active in Yobe. It may be difficult to hold elections in those places. And of course, some parts of the Northwest, some parts of Katsina, some parts of Zamfara. So unless we defeat the problem of insecurity that we face in our country, the issue of how holding elections across our country cannot happen. INEC will only allow elections to take place where it is convinced that the safety of its equipment and personnel is guaranteed. So this is it. I commend the governor of Borno State. He's tried his best to galvanize our troops to work harder to Kogi State. ISWAP already has cells, especially in Kogi Central, that is Liberaland. The people who tried to, who used the vehicle-laden bomb to kill people during the visit of the president have been seen, discovered to be ISWAP fighters. They also carried out the attack on the ceramic company in Ajaokuta, where they kidnapped expatriates, killed 2 drivers, killed 2 policemen, and took some of the expatriates, kidnapped some of the expatriates. Ransom for the